Well, hi everybody. I'm here today by myself. So, as if this show wasn't bad enough, with me and Jen, now you get just me in a room, in a white box room with nothing around, to pontificate for an hour on what's been going on in the news. And of all days, um, Jen left me the day that we went live on Twitter. So, welcome to all our Twitter people. You're the 75th episode of Right Stuff. So please give comments. Get involved in the discussion. Boy, today I feel lonely, but it's kind of what the day actually um, warrants, because today was a ridiculous day in the history of the United States. But before we start going, let's kick off the show with our sizzle reel.
Who the hell cares?
That's a liberal.
It's like saying, would you rather have wine or water?
Wine, a half inch, means a lot sometimes.
Nobody likes to eat crow. Right.
Now I'm starving.
How much is the economy today? It's that much.
This pumpkin latte sucked, and I want to speak to your manager.
Objection, hearsay. Objection, leading. Objection, hearsay.
Where is that woman when Biden speaks?
Get the hell out of here. His name is pronounced Joni. And that's the end of it.
So, first off, let's start the show by saying a big happy birthday to Colleen Mahoney. She was supposed to be my fill-in for today, but unfortunately, she is not feeling well. So please send prayers and thoughts, because she's sick today, and so she couldn't make it. And I didn't want to try and burden somebody else to jump in at such a late hour. So we're going to try and do this together. So let's see. We have Ralph with us. Hey, Ralph, how you doing? Bobby Dutcher's with us. Hi, Bobby. Hi, Mom. Thanks for the vote of confidence, Mom. Mom, I have my wild hair, wild jewelry on. I'm getting ready to come down to South Carolina. Looking forward to it. Hey, Martin Lee. Thanks for the congratulations. Lots to discuss. Absolutely. I'm glad you're ready. So I want everybody's comments. Hey, Anthony, how are you doing? Good to see you. Everybody has to be my co-host tonight, okay? May I premise the show on this thought? This isn't justice. This is the most vile misuse of jurisprudence ever recorded in American history. This in the Manhattan travesty makes a mockery of the United States of America. I'm positive Hillary got her rocks off watching Monica, all while her beloved sex toy was on duty as commander-in-chief. Yep. I can't even believe that I am awake and alive, that this is all happening with Donald Trump. Hello, Professor. Good to have you here. Happiest birthday to Colleen. And tomorrow is Trump's birthday. What a beautiful birthday present he got by having to answer this indictment in court today. Oh, there she is. There's our Colleen. Happy birthday, Colleen. I put away the balloons and noisemakers because I didn't know if you were going to be able to join us tonight, even to watch. But I am so glad that you're feeling well enough to watch the show. I hope I don't make you sicker. I would try to struggle through this by myself. Let's see. Happening forever. We became clearly aware since 2016. Yes. And the OG is with us. Lucille, how are you, Lucille? Well, before we get started with the Trump indictment, and believe me, I have plenty to talk about with the Trump indictment, I just thought that we should give our Fauci Award out tonight to, once again, Karine Jean-Pierre, because if you watch her during the press conferences when reporters are asking her questions, especially on the Trump indictment or anything to do with the Biden crime family, she will say that she can't respond because of the Hatch Act. Well, guess what? She was found in violation of the Hatch Act. Watch this.
The Fauci Award for Gullible People.
Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre violating the Hatch Act by repeatedly calling out mega MAGA Republicans ahead of the 2022 midterm elections.
Unfortunately, we have seen mega MAGA Republican officials who don't believe in the rule of law. They refuse to accept the results of free and fair elections.
Oh, the irony, since Jean-Pierre has repeatedly cited the act to avoid answering questions.
The Hatch Act, I am covered on the Hatch Act. So look, I need to be careful. The Hatch Act, I'm covered by the Hatch Act. I am covered by the Hatch Act.
So it turns out, as she was trying to make fun of us by calling us MAGA, she actually was violating the Hatch Act every time. And quite frankly, I always wondered how she could stand up there and, disrespect 75 million people who voted for Donald Trump by calling us mega MAGA Republicans and disparaging us. Well, now she's in violation of the Hatch Act. Now, just so that you know, there'll be no prosecution. There's no penalty. She just got a slap on the wrist. Hello, Susan. How are you? Good to have you tonight. Corruption is in plain sight. Nothing being done about it. That's true. Feeling a lot better, but not to go on camera. I get it. I know exactly what you feel like, Colleen. I felt that way myself sometimes. Jen is all right. What happened was that she got tickets. Her other half got her tickets to a show, and it just so happened to be on this night, and she didn't know. And so, well, you know how it is. Waiting for it to be executed. Yeah, well, I'm watching these congressmen and women stand up there carrying on about how this is a miscarriage of justice and blah, 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 blah. But I want to know, what are they going to do about it? What are they going to do to stop this? Because this is absolute insanity. It's a compliment. Ultra MAGAs here. Absolutely, it is a compliment. Actually, it's Colleen that doesn't feel good, Susan. Jen is at a show, so she feels great. Colleen was supposed to be my co-host tonight. She doesn't feel well. All right, so let's talk about this indictment. I don't know. Did everybody see the actual indictment? Did everybody see Smith read out the indictment? I just in case you didn't, I wanted to play it here from beginning to end, and I want you to listen to it carefully, because this indictment comes after it was leaked, after photos were leaked, and just listen to him. He doesn't actually talk about what Trump was being indicted for. Watch.
Today, an indictment was unsealed, charging Donald J. Trump with felony violations of our national security laws, as well as participating in a conspiracy to obstruct justice. This indictment was voted by a grand jury of citizens in the Southern District of Florida, and I invite everyone to read it in full to understand the scope and the gravity of the crimes charged. The men and women of the United States intelligence community and our armed forces dedicate their lives to protecting our nation and its people. Our laws that protect national defense information are critical to the safety and security of the United States, and they must be enforced. Violations of those laws put our country at risk. Adherence to the rule of law is a bedrock principle of the Department of Justice, and our nation's commitment to the rule of law sets an example for the world. We have one set of laws in this country, and they apply to everyone. Applying those laws, collecting facts, that's what determines the outcome of an investigation. Nothing more and nothing less. The prosecutors in my office are among the most talented and experienced in the Department of Justice. They have investigated this case hewing to the highest ethical standards, and they will continue to do so as this case proceeds. It's very important for me to note that the defendants in this case must be presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law. To that end, my office will seek a speedy trial in this matter, consistent with the public interest and the rights of the accused. We very much look forward to presenting our case to a jury of citizens in the Southern District of Florida. In conclusion, I would like to thank the dedicated public servants of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, with whom my office is conducting this investigation and who work tirelessly every day upholding the rule of law in our country. I'm deeply proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with them. Thank you very much.
So let's just go over this masterful PR press conference, because that's what this was. This was not laying out the crime. This was not laying out why he was going to be prosecuted and how they were going to go about it. This was nothing more than propaganda being put out so that the people listening, and I chose it from CNN especially, so that people listening could have sound bites to tell them what to think. Let's go over what he said. He doesn't say what the charges are because they sound ridiculous. In writing, it looks much, much worse. He said the laws must be enforced, as if for some reason, Donald Trump, somewhere along the line, there was lack of enforcement of the laws when it comes to Donald Trump. He talked about the men and women in law enforcement and their lives being in danger because a president who had all of these records all during the 4 years of his administration and who was able to see them and read them and act on them suddenly took them home. That put everybody in law enforcement in danger. They forget that he was elected president of the United States in a lawful election. One set of laws, he says, for all people. So he's trying to say this isn't political. This is one set of laws and everybody has to abide by them. The prosecutors in his office are talented and ethical, so you must believe them. And then he throws in, remember, he's innocent until proven guilty. Oh, really? But you managed to leak the documents, you managed to leak photographs, you managed to stage photographs for leaking. Oh, please. Speedy trial. So is it so that for his safety. He doesn't mention that a speedy trial puts it right in the middle of a presidential election. And he says it's his peers who will judge him. Remember, he said his peers. The government is good at what he said with the tireless workers. So he's trying to say the government is good. You must believe these workers. They're tireless. They're public servants dedicated to you. Come on, people. This was the greatest political theater that I have seen. I mean, absolutely ridiculous. So we're going to take a look at I just want to catch up with your comments here. We're going to take a look at actually the one thing that it did say. Let's see. Where did I go? Bill Barr is a disgrace. Absolutely, Debbie. Okay, Colleen Moore, good wishes for you to feel better. Would not be if not for Secret Service. Yeah, that's the other thing. Are you telling me that, and I'm going to show you the photos that they staged. You're telling me that the Secret Service allowed these documents to be stored in a ballroom and said nothing? Come on, people. He is guarded by Secret Service 24 hours a day. So they didn't know that these documents were in a ballroom because they weren't in a ballroom. That was staged so that we could have some photographs to make people think that Trump was out of his mind. The Dems want to bring this to a military tribunal and attempt to have him executed for treason. Yes, exactly. That's exactly what they're looking for. Angela says, happy birthday, Colleen. Our laws are critical to save the left's corruption. Yeah, and they're not applied equally. $80 billion of high-tech military equipment left to Taliban national security. Yeah, exactly, Ralph. I love my audience. I mean, you guys are so on the money. All I have to say is the Presidential Records Act. Yeah, the Presidential Records Act, which says that all of the documents are public. And quite frankly, if you violate them, there's no punishment for it. There's nothing laid out. All lies. They're so evil. We have no law here. It's a lynching of Trump and Trump supporters. Absolutely. Set up to have the public believe that what is false. No facts presented. Zero. And if you read that document, 41 pages, set up to be long so that nobody wants to read it, but it boils down to nothing. Meanwhile, Biden has a bribery scheme going on, and nobody is covering it, Bobby Dutcher. Nobody. Also took for granted that Secret Services were the only real measure of a nation's political health, the only real expression of its subconscious. John Le Carre on Arthur Graham Greene's, quote, Espionage Act. Well, Biden's papers were in his garage. Oh, wait, it was locked. Yes, that was fine, right? Okay, we have some links for you guys to follow from Colleen. That's called the legalese loaded soliloquy, not a statement of facts. Facts, please. Exactly. Aren't these the people that said facts, only the facts? Himmers in Ukraine. Yes, exactly. What about the boxes in Biden's Delaware garage? Well, again, they were discovered and turned over immediately. No photos from the FBI when they raided or when they went to visit him, because it was negotiated. Same thing with Pence. Same thing with Obama. Oh, please. But the thing about Biden is that Biden had top secret documents in his possession from when he was a senator. Senators are not allowed to take those documents away. As a matter of fact, we're seeing that play out right now with Congress, right? They have to go to a SCIF. They can't take notes. They can't take pictures. And so those who are trying to get to the bottom of this whole Burisma scandal cannot actually take the documents with them. And they're sitting members of Congress right now. They've been persecuting him for 7 years. They have indeed. And he's a duly elected president of the United States, right? Because according to them, all of our elections are on the up and up. So this is how they're treating somebody that the American people elected president, who had these codes, this nuclear information, this whatever crap they're claiming, he had, which we know that it's all bogus. This is a man who has had this and had to work with this for 4 years. And suddenly, because they went from the White House to Mar-a-Lago, it's all of a sudden a huge problem. Espionage, right? So what does anybody think he did with those documents? I want to know. Biden is guilty. Trump is not, for sure. Chinatown, yes. So anyway, I'm going to just show you what the real charge is, right? So all these papers, all this kerfuffle, this is what it's about. It's about the purpose of the conspiracy. They are saying that Donald Trump entered into a conspiracy to hide and conceal documents from a federal grand jury. That's what this was supposedly all about. Okay, that he knowingly was going to have a federal grand jury looking for this. I mean, how could they say that he was conspiring to hide the documents from a grand jury? This was going on for at least a year, over a year, right? Before there was a federal grand jury, before anybody said that there was a problem. They were negotiating with the archives. So what is Smith talking about? This is set up because we need to get Donald Trump. It is a total misuse of our justice system. It is a total misuse of our tax dollars. It is the exact type of government that our founding fathers left in England and wanted us never to have in America. And that is what is going on right now. State Department controls all final secret clearances and accesses. Absolutely true. Sold them to China. Biden sold them to China. Well, that's coming up next. That's what the payments were for. Yes, exactly. Chris Cuddy is here. Howdy do. Sorry, been off for a while. Missed you. You know, I was going to call you today to see if you wanted to fill in, Chris. Just jail the lying, scamming, traitor, scumbag piece. What is that? Wait. Trump. You want us to just jail Trump? Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Because you know what? If they can jail Trump, my friend, Robert Pierce, they can jail you. How can they offer anything into evidence if it's classified? Well, they can't. Wake up, America. Don't you see this is one-sided? Absolutely. Absolutely so. So let's just see. So I want to show you the photographs of what CNN was showing. This is what we're supposed to believe Trump did with the documents. Watch.
Right. Hundreds of documents, maps,
and
military information, nuclear information about a foreign country,
and control
boxes in a ballroom.
Show the one of all the documents spilled out that have the Five Eyes labels. Five Eyes is the 5 allies: the United States, Australia, New Zealand, and others, UK. And these are documents that are only accessible, only allowable to be seen by people in the intelligence community in these 5 countries. And there's a photograph that I'm sure our team will find of the documents spilled all over the storage room in a facility that is not secure.
It's the opposite of secure. That ballroom had hundreds of events during this period of time.
Is that it?
There you go.
So they want us to believe that the president of the United States were storing documents in all of Mar-a-Lago. As big as Mar-a-Lago is, he put them in bathrooms and he put them on the stage in the ballroom. People, wake up. This is insanity. And Mr. Pierce, if you believe that, then my friend, you have some real problems, because anybody that can believe that that is so, I have no words. How can they offer anything, right? We talked about that already. I'm sorry. These photos were all staged. Absolutely. Every document the president generates are copied and transmitted to each pertinent agency. There is no hiding. Absolutely total bullshit. Trump knows they have been after him since 2016. Do they actually think he would be that careless with these papers, knowing that he would be indicted? Come on. I mean, you know, truly, people, I mean, what do we think he was doing with them? I'm sure they had events with boxes in the ballroom. Yes, absolutely. People took copies home as party favors, right? Is it less secure than a garage? You know what? I don't even want to talk about the comparison, because I have to tell you the truth. Thanks for the comment, Mom. But making these comparisons of that, Trump had them, Biden had them. I get it. But let's for a minute stop thinking about everybody else who had them, and let's just think about what is happening right here, right now. This is a setup of ginormous proportions, and they're setting up a United States president, someone that the people elected in office, someone who had this country he averted war. This country's economy was ridiculously good. People were happy. He got us through, he created the COVID vaccine, for those of you who thinks that that's a great thing. I mean, did he have a big mouth? Did I like the things he said all the time? Absolutely not. Did I find some of the things, did I go, oh my God? Yes, I did. But look at who's in office right now and tell me that this man, Biden, is not more embarrassing than any other president we've ever had in the history of America. So, yeah, Trump might not have been presidential to some, and even to me. I don't think he was presidential, but he was a damn good president. And you know how I know? Because this country was thriving under Trump. He united us. He had us appreciating that we were Americans. It was the left that was tearing us down. The man has his own plane. He doesn't move paper boxes. Yeah, he doesn't. Total insanity. And that's what I would just like to bang people's heads against the wall and say, look at what's happening. And I understand that the mainstream media is not reporting on this. I get it. So you're only seeing what you're being spoon fed. So people, for God's sakes, even if you hate Trump, you have to say to yourself, I mean, when have you ever known the government to make anything better? Anything. Think about it. Motor vehicles, IRS, your local state and county governments. Tell me that you would trust them to run your life. If you are that type of person that will blindly follow what the government tells you, even law enforcement, then I have, this show is not for you, and I'm not for you, and I have nothing I can say for you. But for those of us who know that the government does not make things better, you have to look at this from 10,000 feet, erase the fact that it's Trump, and say, what the hell is going on here? Did I see what Ramaswamy said? I didn't, Angela. I know he was siding with the Constitution, but maybe you'll enlighten us. When our embassy got raided in Benghazi, our national security was compromised. Absolutely, it was. Yeah, her email server, put us at risk. How will they prove the accusations? Well, that becomes the whole thing. How do they prove it? They can't, because they don't care if they prove it. They want to label him. They want more Robert Pierces out there saying, jail him, he's a bum. And when I ask people, what did he do wrong? Tell me the thing he did. They can only regurgitate what mainstream media has spoken about. All of the things that he's been accused of, and some of the things he's been impeached for, have been proven to be not true. That's all they do is lie and set up their illegal narrative. Absolutely. We all know this is bogus. He is gaining more and more supporters. Yes, he is. He was the best. I think Ronald Reagan was better than him, in my opinion. But he was a really good president for our time. The Trumpinator rules. Biden sucks. Absolutely. The media made Germans hate Jews in Germany. Yeah, exactly. I can't believe, with all the years of trying to get Trump on anything and everything with no success, people still don't see he's not a criminal. All the attempts and documents they came up with. That's because mainstream media will only feed what they want you to see. He said he would pardon him. Ramaswamy. Oh, yes. In the Wall Street Journal, there was an op-ed today that said that Biden should pardon Trump. And that would be the smartest move to bring the country together. I agree. He said he will run even if he's convicted. Is that possible? Yes, it is possible. Supported Trump and said if he won, he would immediately pardon Trump. A bit of commercial for him, but at least supported Trump. Yeah, well, you know what? It's a smart move, because there's a lot of Trump supporters out there. What, according to James Madison, is the very definition of tyranny involves? In the words of Madison, the accumulation of all powers, legislative, executive, and judiciary, in the same hands, whether of one, a few, or many, and whether hereditary, self-appointed, or elective, may justly be pronounced the very definition of tyranny, which we have here in New York State, right? It's all in the hands of one party. Okay, so this is what Trump did today after he went to court to answer the indictment.
Keep it clear. No, we got to keep this clear.
He made a pit stop to a restaurant, and he bought everybody food because that's the kind of guy he is. And God bless him for continuing the fight, because he's not fighting just for himself. He's fighting for all of us. And we know that. I mean, we know that with what's going on with the people from January 6th, which, oh, by the way, I've got some stuff to show you. Okay. So I'm thinking this. So we had documents at Mar-a-Lago. We had documents in Biden's garage and the Chinese-run Biden Center. We had documents in Pence's house. We had documents in Obama's house. We had documents all over the place. So in my opinion, this is what we should do in the future to make sure that no presidents share confidential information.
See you around, Jay.
No, you won't.
From Men in Black, remember? Yeah, the memory eraser. Yeah, maybe we need that in our government. Where is his wife? Trump's wife, Melania? I don't know that she was with him today. I just know that's where he was. He was in a restaurant in Miami right after the hearing. Okay, so now let's come to Comer and his investigation of Biden, right? We all know that the Hunter laptop was kept from being from the media. We couldn't share it on Twitter. The New York Post lost their Twitter page over it. The FBI made sure that social media wouldn't allow you to share it. It was all supposed to be Russian disinformation. Well, I just pulled together a compilation of Biden himself speaking about Burisma, not Burisma, about Ukraine and the AG and what he's being accused of now.
When I did my financial disclosure as vice president, the headline in the paper was, "It's probable no man has ever assumed the office of vice president with fewer assets than Joe Biden." I assume they weren't speaking intellectual assets.
President Joe Biden was allegedly paid $5 million American by an executive of the Ukrainian natural gas firm called Burisma Holdings.
I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, "No," I said, "I'm not going to, or we're not going to give you the $1 billion." They said, "You have no authority. You're not the president." The president said. I said, "Call him." I said, "I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion." I said, "You're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here." And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, "I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money." Well, son of a bitch. Got fired.
I think a lot of the voters are like me. They're wondering what the Biden family did to receive over $10 million and have that money deposited into 9 different family members' accounts.
There's damning evidence in the FBI file that you sold out the country. Do you have a response to the congressional Republicans?
Where's the money?
So from his own mouth, and I know I've showed this clip here not once but twice before, years ago when we first started the show. But there is Biden right there talking about getting Victor fired because he was, the AG of Ukraine, was investigating Burisma. So people want to know, what was the money for? Well, we know what the money was for. But the thing is, it wasn't just Ukraine. It was China. It was Russia. It was Romania, all sending money or paying money to the Biden crime family while he was vice president. And he wants to know where the money is? Well, how about 9 different bank accounts that belong to your family members, including his granddaughter? But I want to know, Mr. Pierce, are you still with us, Mr. Pierce, with the smart mouth that wants Trump in jail? Let me just ask you something. Did you know that? Do you hear that? Is that on the news media, mainstream media? Is he talking about that? No, mainstream media is not talking about that. Okay, Peter, Biden has his memory eraser. Absolutely. That's what I was thinking when I put that up, Professor. Biden already had his memory erased. He has no intellectual assets, including his administration. He's a criminal. Oh, my gosh. Mike knows everything. Quid pro quo. Nothing to see here. Yeah, and he was bragging about it. as if there was no problem because he thought he was free and clear. This was before he was running for president. So think about that. First, he says that he has no assets, right? He has the lowest assets. So he hasn't had no money, but suddenly his net worth skyrocketed after he left the vice presidency. I wonder why. Oh, could it be because the Biden crime family was raking in dough all that time? And so the money started pouring in his account. I mean, I don't know, but it smells. I say innocent until proven guilty, but there's enough smoke here that the FBI should be all over this. This is corruption. What Trump did, and they keep on trying. They impeached him twice. We have New York going after him. We have now federal courts going after him. Really, I think that people in America are more concerned with the fact that foreign entities, foreign corporations are paying people's family while they're in office than they are about whether or not a former president took some documents that were marked classified and had them stored in his home. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I would think that would more concern me because Trump was the only president that left office poorer than when he started. Everyone else, they come in poor and they wind up being rich, richer than God, or than the Catholic Church when they leave, including Nancy Pelosi. Tyranny and treason is what this government has been doing, and Biden is the worst. Yeah. And you know what, Susan? The thing is, and I hope that everybody here gets it. It's not just the Democrats, it's the Republicans too. It is the swamp. And the Democrats by far have a handle on demoralizing this country for sure. But together, both Democrats and Republicans who have been in office for all these years have been stealing America's secrets and taking the money to screw us, basically, whether it's from the big pharma, whether it's from big tech, whether it's from foreign entities. They have been screwing us, and they've been smiling and lying to our face as they do it. Yes, he's quick with the curse words. He absolutely is. He can't figure out any other words. So you can't remember any other words. So look at this. Today there was a January 6th hearing too. And this is a part of a video that they played before the hearing. This was interesting. Watch this.
How many FBI agents or confidential informants actively participated in the events of January 6th?
Sir, I can't answer that.
Did the FBI have confidential human sources embedded within the January 6th protesters?
As I'm sure you can appreciate, I have to be very careful about what I can say about when we do and do not, and where we have and have not used confidential human sources.
Why can't you just give us access to the 11,000 hours of video that's available? Because there may be UC's undercover officers or CHS's confidential human sources on those videos whose identity we need to protect.
There might have been some kind of potential federal involvement with the activities on January 6th, and I thought it was important enough that it warranted our attention.
There must be moments where you think, if we would have known, if we could have infiltrated this group or found out what they were doing, and that, do you have those moments?
Absolutely.
And in that testimony to the Senate, you believe that Christopher Wray indicated that there were no confidential informants and no FBI assets that were present at the Capitol on January 6th that were part of the violent riot. Isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
The Washington field office told Boston, well, you know what? We can't give you the evidence because it might disclose the very CIs and UCs that you are concerned about.
So, January 6th, the tool that they are using to keep Americans in check, right? The tool that they're using to make sure that there's never again a protest where people say the government is corrupt and we want proof and evidence and we want you to investigate, which is what was going on right there, right? That they now we're finding out that there might have been or probably was undercover agents or informants in the crowd on January 6th. Isn't that interesting? So this is the long game, ladies and gentlemen. This is the swamp's long game against Trump. See, it started the day he started running, the day he came down that elevator. They thought, oh, this is great. We're going to get Hillary right in. We're going to elevate Trump in the press, in the media. We're going to give him all this airtime so that people can see what a buffoon he is, that his wicked tongue and his put downs and his crass, way of being will put people off and Hillary will become president. Oh, but what happened? That didn't happen. Instead, Trump was mirroring what people were feeling in 2016. They were in 2015 when he was campaigning. He was mirroring all the stuff that was out there on social media, all the anger at Obama and Biden. And he was giving it voice. And so he became the president. So they had to start immediately. Russian collusion in the election. That's how he got elected, right? So they put that out there. Then they, started with the impeachment processes because he called Ukraine to find out if indeed, what happened with the firing of Victor. And that was a problem. It was a problem for our president to investigate why, after Biden went there and said he was going to withhold $1 billion loan unless they fired him, Trump wanted to know why it happened. And that was a big problem, big enough to impeach him. The Russiagate was out there. The Durham report was out there, all started by the Hillary campaign. So this has been going on all throughout the whole situation with Trump. Then Trump holds a rally, on January 6th. And all of a sudden it turns from a peaceful rally to people breaking glass, breaking into the Capitol. Even though they did it, if you look at any of the footage, you see that once people entered the Capitol, they did not destroy anything. The only person that was killed that day was a woman who was a protester. Nobody else was. Law enforcement, who did succumb and who did wind up dying, died not from causes of January 6th, we found out. So they're using January 6th to keep us under control, to go to not allow us to exercise our First Amendment rights, to not allow us to ask questions, and to keep the American people afraid to challenge their government. They put up a big fence around the Capitol and didn't allow anybody in, because the biggest problem with January 6th was the swamp was being threatened. It didn't matter that during the George Floyd protests that people actually died, that billions of dollars of destruction happened to cities all across America. That didn't matter. But because the swamp was threatened, that mattered. So again, they were screwing with our minds. They're still screwing with our minds. Now we're coming to learn that there were FBI agents as part of that crowd. Well, what was that all about? What was that all about? And why aren't they releasing the footage? Okay, I talked too long. Let's get to some of your comments here. Let's see. That's why they didn't want Trump and the money train would come to a halt. Yeah, that's true. Carpenter, you got to help me, Professor. I love your big brain, but we're not all inside it. Absolutely. Georgia also going after him. Yes, for the phone call asking about the election and did they count the votes right? And, are you kidding me? What's going on in your red state? And not for anything, but you know what? Georgia is now paying the price, right? Because whatever the governor of Georgia decided to leak that phone call and to make that phone call an issue. And now although he sailed to re-election, his state is in trouble. His state is in trouble. FBI was all over this and did nothing. Yeah. Let's calm down and have an illegal to dinner. Oh, yes. So true and very sad. They become millionaires on six-figure salaries. Martin Lee, how the heck does that happen, Martin Lee? I want to know, because I think the American people want to know how you can be elected to office on a six-figure salary and come out a multimillionaire. Not even 1 or 2 million. We're talking about tens and 20 millions. You get bells for that, Martin Lee. You get absolute bells. In the old days, when things went bad, they killed the king and the kingmakers. Today, nobody knows who is in the deep state. Absolutely. Those are brilliant words. On the anniversary of the book, 1984. Trump knows where the bodies are buried because they are not buried deep. Always follow the money because silence doesn't come cheap. Very good. Did you intend for that to rhyme, Deb? Trump just landed in Newark and will be doing a speech. Certainly has the stamina to be president, unlike Biden. This is true. The FBI was the shit starters. Well, it's looking like that. We knew that. Ray Epps was one of them, inciting people to storm the Capitol. Well, we know that the Capitol Police opened the doors. We know that, right? We know they opened the doors to let them in. And even though they opened the doors, people broke through the windows. But it was interesting, the side that we were out front and looking in through the fence, just in case anybody wants to know, it was all old ladies. It was all people my age. They were all in red hats, and there was kumbayaing all over the place. I don't know who broke the window and from what side, but I do know that a bunch of people in dark vests, people who look like Antifa, arrived, and that's when everything, the shit hit the fan. That's when we got out of there. They would go so far as to let someone die on that day to achieve their goal. Ashley Babbitt. Listen, this is the swamp. We know they assassinated a president and a would-be president. We know that they've done this. Come on, JFK, RFK, Martin Luther King. We know this. So everybody's got to open their eyes. Our founding fathers gave us an opportunity to make a government that was great. It is not perfect. And when people are asleep, when the voters are asleep, when the citizens are asleep, and just sit back and get spoon-fed the information that the government wants to give to the media and doesn't question what's going on, then we get the government that our founding fathers feared most. 81 million votes, my ass. Yeah, really, Antifa dresses MAGA, broke windows, video of MAGA people trying to stop them. Absolutely. Thomas Valentine, welcome. It's about time they got this twice impeached, twice indicted, sex abuse, corrupt piece of shit. He's still a threat to our democracy. Okay, I want to know how. Tell us how he's a threat to our democracy. Tell me what he did that threatened our democracy. Let's see if we get an answer. Jack Smith and January 6th propaganda, brainwashing. And you can see it right there. Okay. This guy is throwing in January 6th and what was wrong. I want to know something, Mr. Thomas Valentine. Don't you believe that people should protest if they don't agree with something? Do you believe everything that the government tells you, Mr. Valentine? Do you believe that every agency in government is true and honest, and everybody working in law enforcement and IRS and DOJ? Do you believe they are all pure and only have your best interest at heart? I'd like to know that. Let's see, 35 viewers showing on Facebook. Wow. Yeah, we were up to 50 almost. It was kind of crazy. You have lost your mind, lady. I don't think so, Mr. Bennett. I haven't lost my mind. As a matter of fact, my mind is sharper now than it's ever been. You know why? Because I read outside of mainstream media and I look for things. Also, we got warning the night before that Antifa was going to infiltrate. Never got warning before. Rallies never got violent before. For decades, Biden made only 5 figures. Well, he says it himself, right in the clip. He says himself that he, did not. He had the lowest assets of any vice president. Folks, as the son of a Holocaust survivor in 1933 here in America, absolutely a setup. I saw the poem. Okay, got it. Stop telling these conspiracy theories. Well, tell me why this is a conspiracy theory, Mr. Valentine. What makes you think it's a conspiracy theory? So far, everything that people called a conspiracy theory turned out to be true. So tell me why it's a conspiracy theory. I saw the poem somewhere. Okay, got it. George Stephanopoulos asked Marta Raddatz on live TV if she was scared. She said absolutely not. They don't want their agenda to stop and don't care about we the people. They don't. Hitler used democracy until he had complete power. And they always do. This is not a democracy. It's a constitutional republic. Democracies end in communism. They end in totalitarianism. We are not a democracy. We have representatives. JFK Jr. thinks JFK was assassinated by government officials. And I got to tell you something. I am very impressed by JFK Jr. Okay, we don't have much time, and I have a bunch of clips. Hold on. Watch this.
Why a constitutional amendment and why now?
Well, why now is pretty self-evident that a lot of the laws we've passed are being rolled back by the federal courts.
To be clear, you're not calling for the abolition of the Second Amendment.
No, this is an existential crisis that we're experiencing every single day.
Saying he's fed up with Congress's inability to act, California Governor Gavin Newsom is proposing something never done before on gun control, having states work together to pass a U.S. constitutional amendment on guns that would implement 4 measures nationwide. Raise the minimum age for buying a firearm to 21, mandate universal background checks, require a reasonable waiting period for gun purchases, and ban the sale of assault rifles to civilians. To achieve this, he'll need 2/3 of states to propose the same amendment. That would trigger a constitutional convention, where 3/4 of states would have to vote yes for the amendment to pass. But more than half of these state legislatures are controlled by Republicans. So how is this possible? How is this going to happen?
That's possible because their constituency demands it.
In fact, a recent Fox News poll found most Americans are in favor of these measures.
There's not a parent out there, not one parent, you included, that doesn't think about these things when you send your kids to school.
You know very well what the critics are going to say about this. California has some of the strictest gun laws in the nation. In the first month of the year, between Half Moon Bay and Monterey Park, 18 people were killed. That's what they're going to say. What do we need this 28th Amendment for?
And what California's gun death rate today is 73% lower than Texas. These federal judges want to turn America into Texas. We cannot let that happen.
So this is what Gavin Newsom wants to do. We already have movement on Convention of States to term limit, to have a balanced budget, and I can't remember the other thing. And right now, I think, and Colleen, help me out here, I think it's 28 states are agreeing to the Convention of States brought up by a group called Convention of States. Now, Gavin Newsom wants to hijack that and get rid of our gun rights. Ladies and gentlemen, sound familiar? This is what happens. We're destroying America bit by bit, little by little. And when people like Mr. Valentine and Mr. Pierce are eager to just swallow up the poo-poo that the government is force feeding them, that is what will happen, right? They get you by limiting your ability to own a gun legally. And so then what happens? All the criminals have guns. So this is Gavin Newsom's end run, because he believes that a Convention of States will actually get rid of 2A. Never going to happen. Okay, Colleen, I don't know if Valentine saw that. I think he was a hit and run, because tonight, remember, we're live on Twitter. So that's where all the good haters are. So I don't think that he actually saw it or paid much attention. Last time I checked, stupid is a choice. Yeah, Mr. Bennett, bingo, stupid is a choice. Why does he let violent criminals and insane people out? Newsom? Well, because it's easy. Because if you get the people afraid, then they're more easily controlled. Get security in the schools like they protect the government officials. Wouldn't that be nice? If it's not the function of government to keep the citizen from falling into error, it's the function of the citizen to keep the government from falling into error. Absolutely brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. That is so. Let me see. I'm assuming Mr. Valentine is an angry Democrat. Who knows? I mean, he might not be. He might be an independent. He might be a libertarian. But one thing we know is he believes mainstream media. Stop federal overreach. 19 states so far. From an idiot with a diaper on his face. Not sure what that means. 300. Yeah. Homicide. I know I spelled it wrong. Sorry. Okay, so let's see what else we got going on. Oh, from two more things that I want to show you from our from the birthplace of our nation. This is the tourism promotion that just dropped for Philadelphia.
Hey, look at clumsy Gerald, the animal's all sneered. Giraffes can't dance, you silly fool. Oh, Gerald, you're so weird.
Excuse me, coughed the cricket.
Who'd seen Gerald earlier on.
But sometimes when you're different, you just need a different song.
They shouted, it's a miracle, we must be in a dream. Gerald's the best dancer that we've ever seen.
Somebody needs to tell me what Drag Queen Story Hour has to do with Philadelphia. And I will tell you that when I posted that on TikTok, they told me I violated hate speech. All I did was post that to TikTok. I didn't put any other word. All I said was HUH, huh? With a question mark. And they told me that was hate speech. So what the hell? Somebody tell me how that makes sense. The birthplace of our nation. We could talk about, the Liberty Bell. We could talk about the first Congress. We could talk about the Revolutionary War. We could talk about so many things to visit Philadelphia. Crime going down would be nice, but that is what they want to show you to get you to come to Philadelphia. Anybody else have a question mark in their head? Useful idiots to further their agenda. Absolutely. It was insane. Oh my God, stupid. Why do they want kids as an audience? You got me. Most don't. Oh my God, what a nightmare. North Carolina is promoting LGBTQ tourism too. I don't get it. When did social aspects become inviting to a state? That's insanity. When you're promoting your state, you want everybody to come. So you want everybody to feel welcome. That is the most polarizing thing that's going on right now, Drag Queen Story Hour with kids. And Philadelphia decided, where crime is skyrocketing and people don't feel safe, and Martin can talk about it because he lives there, they decided that was the best promo for Philadelphia. Go figure it. Okay, so they want us all to have electric cars, right? They want us all to give up our gas-guzzling cars because it's better for the planet. Watch.
A heads up to Ford drivers. The company is recalling thousands of hybrids for a second time. This comes after the first recall failed to address a fire hazard, and it includes 125,000 of the most recent year's Escapes, Mavericks, and Corsairs. Their gas engines can leak oil or vapors, and that can catch fire when contacted with hot parts of the compartments. The vehicles are hybrids or hybrid plug-ins, so that means people could keep driving with a failed engine. Ford has received nearly 30 reports of the fires.
The automakers have been training fire departments how to cope with these EV fires for the past couple of years. But when the fires reach what's known as thermal runaway, firefighters know they have one next level, very hot and frightening conflagration on their hands. This was the scene last February in a Ford Dearborn lot. One charging F-150 Lightning burned, setting two others next to it on unquenchable fire. Dearborn's fire department isn't commenting on this blaze, but Bloomfield Township Fire Chief John Leroy knows firsthand the problem.
We just know that it's going to need a lot more water, whereas opposed to in the past, a simple car fire, we could fight it with one tank of water on our truck.
So, sitting in a parking lot, the batteries catch on fire, and they can't put it out with one tank of water. So let's think about this. Let's think about this for a minute. We need to mine more metals in places that are third world countries and in China to make the batteries. We have to burn oil in order to produce the electricity, and they catch fire on a regular basis. Tesla does, now Ford does. All of the EVs are catching fire, and the fire department can't put it out with just one tank of water. So now you're using more water to put it out. Tell me how this makes sense, that this ridiculousness makes sense. Unbelievable. Just absolutely unbelievable. Let's just see if I can get, oh, no, we're done. Okay, so we went over the hour. It's the first time on Twitter, so I don't know how much more, if we can go over on Twitter or not. I'll have to do with racism. Yeah. Thanks, Mom. I appreciate it. Yeah, be careful, Martin Lee. Yes, everybody be careful, Martin Lee, because, Philadelphia, California, New York, where I live, all of us need to be careful because crime is rampant. Whole idea of electric cars to reduce demand on oil. This weekend's Russia. Well, if we were oil independent, we wouldn't have to worry. Oh, we were oil independent. Oh, I remember. Wasn't that from 2016 to 2020? Tell them the hybrid car batteries that go on fire are not good for climate change. Yep. Drive electric if you want. Yeah, well, if you have to walk around with a fire extinguisher or a couple of truckfuls of water. After they disassemble Russia, I predict oil to be king again. Yeah. And if they need two trucks, you're taking a truck that could go in another fire. Yes, exactly. Ridiculous is the word. All right, everybody. Well, thank you. You all held up your end. I appreciate it so much. Tuesdays at 7. Jen will be back next week. Thank you all for joining. We had a record audience tonight. I'm going to see about us going on Instagram and TikTok next week as well. So I don't like TikTok. I have to tell you, it's a really bad platform. They keep tagging me, so they're obviously anti-conservative, amongst other things. But anyway, Tuesdays at 7. Thanks. If you're on Rumble, give us a Rumble. If you're on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, like, and subscribe. And I'll see you next Tuesday, everybody.